It's Wednesday, June 10, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. Barbados will not be turning its back on nationals who want to return home. Health Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic made this clear as he reported that 4 of the 110 Barbadians who came back from the U.S. yesterday after being stuck for months tested positive for COVID-19. The 4 patients who did not have any symptoms include 3 women ages 53, 25, and 20, and a 39-year-old man. The new cases ended a 17-day streak of no COVID-19 infections. Minister Bostic, however, assured there is no reason to be alarmed, and he says government will not stop Barbadians anxious to return home from doing so.
This development has nothing to do with the repatriation of Barbadians to this country. We acknowledge that persons who were born here and who reside here have a right to be here, and it is the desire of the government to continue to facilitate the arrival of Barbadians. So it's not an issue at all, and let me assure the country that it is not. Yes, we will always continue to welcome Barbadians here, and as long as we have the capacity, we will more than welcome Barbadians back home. And let me put it a little better for you. If there were Barbadians who are brought and who reported that they were COVID patients, we would not turn them back as long as we have the capacity, because that is a duty and a responsibility for us to look after our people. And we have more than enough capacity at this point in time to be able to do so. And all Barbadians can continue to expect that we will be accepting persons returning home.
Minister Bostic added that the COVID-19 threat is far from over, but government remains fully prepared.
We anticipate, and we follow what is happening overseas, but we do anticipate that we will have some additional cases going forward, that because this is something that we now have to live with. So that is not an issue for us in terms, we are not afraid of that. What we are seeking to do is to be able to manage whatever comes our way, and to be able to determine when a situation is becoming unmanageable.
The Grantley Adams International Airport could be back in business in the coming weeks, first for Caribbean flights likely to resume at month end, and then international services possibly in July. Word of this today from Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Senator Rudy Grant, as he addressed the group's first virtual annual general meeting. He says discussions have been ongoing on the resumption of international flights.
In USA, we expect that American and JetBlue will be returning in July. That is what is presently being contemplated. Air Canada is expected to return in July as well. WestJet is expected in winter, so not before November, December. With the UK carriers, well, there's some expectation that they will come in July, possibly in July. There are discussions being undertaken through the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. with respect to what type of support can be provided, and realistically what level of airlift we can expect coming out of the UK. With respect to both Or and Lufthansa, we are expecting that they will come back in December, not before.
Meanwhile, Senator Grant is urging hoteliers to do all they can to lure CARICOM visitors to Barbados to jumpstart activity in the tourism sector. He says the BHTA is considering lobbying the government to scrap its taxes on regional travel, at least for the time being.
With the resumption of regional airlift, let us further expand our staycation program. We can provide attractive packages through CARICOM, which provide discounts for accommodation, dining, attractions, and car rentals. In addition, we can lobby government to consider temporarily removing taxes for regional travel, while encouraging our partner associations in the region to do the same. This provides us with the opportunity to create safe travel bubbles between countries, demonstrated effective management of COVID-19, and also facilitates the resumption of regional travel for CARICOM nationals. Let us use this opportunity to encourage CARICOM nationals to explore the beauty, attractiveness, history, and heritage of our destinations, while stimulating economic activity to assist with maintaining jobs and also business survival.
A family of 7 is giving thanks after their lives were spared despite losing all their possessions after fire destroyed their home at Hutchinson Drive, Silver Sands, Christchurch yesterday evening. Naria Daniel, her partner Ricardo Eswick and their children are currently settling down in temporary accommodations after receiving assistance from Christchurch East MP Wilfred Abrams and neighbours. Abrams praised scores of his constituents and other Barbadians who reached out to the family.
The Sons of God Apostolic Spiritual Baptist Church also stepped up in the most major way. They had access to a house that wasn't in use, and a number of neighbors and residents of the area pitched in to clean up the house last night. It was being cleaned up on the outside this morning. I want to thank the Silver Sands football team who pitched in a major way as well to assist in the cleanup of the inside the house and the outside, and their coach. And we always talk about communities in Barbados, and quite often certain communities are linked negatively. And when I came into politics, I heard somebody say to me that nothing good comes out of Silver Sands. I refute that entirely. The people of Silver Sands stepped forward to be their brother's keeper yesterday and pitched in.
Some Cuban nurses currently on the front line of the fight against COVID-19 could stay on in Barbados. Officials have been exploring the possibility of inviting more Cuban nurses here to address the deficit in the nursing profession. But Cuban ambassador to Barbados, Jorge Pastrana, says in the meantime, the current contingent could be allocated to work at different facilities.
And we signed an agreement that covers a longer period, so they are still here. So while they're here, they will be used, and they're. It's not that they are here until the next wave comes or not. They are here until the government of Barbados finds them useful for whatever is needed to be done with this contingent of nurses. And so far, I mean, both the government and the directors of the medical institutions, Queen Elizabeth Hospital, have had very good evaluation of the work they've been able to do so far.
The ambassador also briefly addressed the recent attack on a bus transporting Cuban nurses, in which 2 of them were injured. He says they're not overly concerned about the incident.
I think this is an isolated thing, and probably, we must be wary of everything, that any conflict that appears. But I must tell you that the amount of letters and messages and calls that I've had so far are overwhelmingly, irritated by the fact. Everybody says this has nothing to do with Barbados. This is very unusual, the stoning of the bus. But this probably is done by some lawless prankster or whatever. We must wait for the investigation to take its course. But let me tell you, the only thing this has done is to reinforce the interest of the nurses to work harder to provide the help they were asked to give to Barbados.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now. In Jamaica, residents of West Kingston clashed with Defence Force officers amid claims of abuse. We get the details from Television Jamaica.
The mother of a 17-year-old boy alleges that her son was taken from his home and beaten by the soldiers. That led to a protest and roadblock along a section of Spanish Town Road. Senior Superintendent of Police Steve McGregor, who was once in charge of the Kingston Western Police Division, sought to reassure residents.
mixed with gang warfare and violence. So you know like how me used to do it? Anywhere shot a fire, nothing can go on. I want to know it go. I may always tell them. If shot now fire, we will make it go on. Hold on. I have impressed upon Mr. Gray. So he can do some things what me used to do. So if you not behave on yourself, I want to invite Mr. Gray. In we come. And just like when we used to tell you, say, if me come, it go until me left. Yes. So it means say, if you not do the thing proper, I want to enjoy without violence or anything like that. West will run like a West run. You understand what I'm saying?
Member of Parliament for Western Kingston, Desmond McKenzie, also spoke with the residents.
And since Monday night, I've been in touch with the Police High Command on the matter about the concerns of the residents. I want to make the point that despite whatever negative people might have about West Kingston and especially the people in Tigray Gardens, majority of the people here are law-abiding, decent, honest people.
On the international front, George Floyd's younger brother took his grief to the U.S. Congress today with an impassioned plea that lawmakers not let his brother's death be in vain. The House of Representatives Judiciary Committee held the first congressional hearing to examine racial injustice and police brutality.
George wasn't hurting anyone that day. He didn't deserve to die over $20. I'm asking you, is that what a black man is worth? $20? This is 2020. Enough is enough. The people marching in the streets are telling you enough is enough. By the leaders that in our country, the world needs the right thing. The people elected you to speak for them, to make positive change. George's name means something. You have the opportunity here today to make your names mean something too. If his death ends up changing the world for the better, and I think it will, then he died as he lived. It is on you to make sure his death is not in vain. I didn't get the chance to say goodbye to Perry while he was here. I was robbed of that. But I know he's looking down at us now. Perry, look up at what you did. Big brother, you changed the world. Thank you for everything.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.